Tonight on Nova Legends podcast, I have our esteemed panel of Northern Virginia basketball coaches. On this call, we have a whole bunch of state titles, regional titles, district titles, and just great coaching. Lots of developing great young men, and great athletes. Uh, Guys, great to see you again. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Of course.
For having us on.
Yeah. Well, let me go around quickly, introduce you guys. First of all, it's Sandbag Deluxe Coach Mike Desmond from South Lakes, who at the beginning of the year thought he would not win a game this year. And now is looking good going into regional, to district tournament play. Coach obviously is off state championship last year. Good to see you, Coach. I got Coach Konstantine from Woodgrove, my neighbor out here in Loudoun. Coach is coming off some injuries in the first part of the season, off to a great start in the districts. I believe you're 4-1 and maybe even in first place, or you're in second place behind
Second
Broadway.
right now, yep.
In the Cactocton, but definitely in striking distance. Coach has really brought some energy out to Woodgrove. Good to see you again, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
Sure.
What's the conference called?
Patocton.
Wow.
Yeah. It's hard to say.
It's a Loudoun thing, Coach. You wouldn't understand it.
He doesn't know the teams in his district. How does he know to pronounce KP's district?
Yeah, pronounce them. He doesn't even know what schools they are. Then we got Coach Doug Craig from Woodson. Coaches, I think 2016 state champs, the Cavaliers. Coach's team was on a 15-game winning streak, Coach.
I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know how many. I know we've won a bunch of games in a row. I just honestly don't know the number off the top of my head.
Well, he's in firm control of the Patriot district, 9-0. Got about a 3-game lead there. I think he's already clinched. Congratulations, Coach. Good to see you again.
No.
Coming up next, I got my man Dave Houston in a much better mood tonight. His West Potomac team is 5-4 in that district, in striking district of South County for second. It looks like Coach's team is playing good ball again. Looks like they've come around. Last couple years, David's done it in the district tournament, but it looks like this year he's going to have to do it again. It's going to be a long road to the state tournament, but I'm sure Coach is up to the task. Good to see you, Coach.
Appreciate you having me on. Appreciate you having me on.
Of course.
Look forward to the edit.
We're not going to tell people what just happened. And then we got Coach Carlos Poindexter, coach of the 2-time back-to-back state champions Hayfield Hawks. Coach, again, is in firm control of the national district. And we're not going to ask him to name the rest of the teams behind him, but he's 10-0. Edison is 7-2, so they're having a good season as well. Coach, great to see you again.
Yes, sir. Nice to see everybody.
Absolutely. And then we got Coach Bentley. Coach Bentley, last time from Wakefield, Coach has been to state tournament at least a couple times, probably more. He was talking about how he had all these academic students on his team, how they're great in school, how it's going to be a long year. But Wakefield is right in a wide open district. Right now, they're, I think, a half game behind Marshall for second place, with a chance to play as a good seed in the play for a good seed in the district tournament. Coach, good seeing you again.
You as well.
Yeah, man, thanks. And lastly, I got Coach Sherman Rivers, who's Patriot Pioneers have been to the state tournament, I think 3 or 4 of the last three straight years, maybe even 4 straight years, Coach. In the title games, 2 years. Coach also went to the state tournament as a player for Potomac many years ago. Coach's team is flying high again in the Cedar Run with a couple of statement wins last week, but they're 10-0 and looking good going into the postseason. Good to see you, Coach Sherman.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. First, we got some breaking news today. My mother came over. It's my birthday's coming up, and my mother came over and says, "Julian, they traded Luka for Anthony Davis today," and I saw that. I thought it was a joke. I saw that on Twitter or something, and I just couldn't believe it. You guys have any comment about that trade? It seems weird that 2 top 10, maybe even top 5 players would get traded like this late in the year. You guys have any comment on that trade? What do you guys think?
Y'all know I always got something to say. So I think it was a good trade. A lot of people are going to think I'm insane. Like, how can you let Luka go? Luka's a great player. He is 25, everybody keeps saying, but we have to remember he started playing professional basketball when he was 14. He's already shown signs that his body is breaking down. He clearly doesn't take much care of his body as far as being in the right type of shape, because I heard he was pushing 270 at one point. And y'all remember that clip a couple years ago? Well, last year when he went to the finals, he had to take the beer out of his hand. Okay? So clearly this is a thing. He comes into this season, he's still out of shape, and then he has all these little injuries here and there. Now that's everybody. Well, about AD, he's injury prone. There's one thing about bad luck. There's another thing not doing what you're supposed to do as a professional. So he doesn't guard anybody. We already know that. So if you're looking at it and you want to pair the type of wings and everything else, when you look at Dallas's roster, I think that they won the trade. I think that if AD stays healthy is a huge if, that you have to look at them as being one of the teams that have a chance to get to the Western Conference Finals, in my opinion. I don't know why the Lakers would want LeBron and Luka unless LeBron's about to go to Golden State, or they just know LeBron's going to be done sometime here soon. But, I mean, you got two great players that are going to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Anyone else got any comment? No? All right. Well, Coach, we'll leave with Coach Sherman's comments there. Huge game this week. I mean, I was surprised at this game. Flint Hill beat Sidwell Friends. The reason why I bring this up, I was at the game last year. They beat them so bad it was embarrassing. It was really bad. It was such a mismatch. And I know that Sidwell Friends still has two elite players. I know one's going to Michigan, and the other is going, I believe, to Villanova or somewhere. I mean, they're really good players. That result just shocked me. I thought I'd ask Carlos this question first because you may play Flint Hill this year. What did you think? What did you think about that result? That was really surprising to me.
I mean, I definitely was surprised that they won. But Flint Hill played well. I watched the game yesterday, and they shot the ball well. They guarded, and their point guard, Caden didn't play, so Caden Lewis didn't play.
Oh, Caden didn't play.
Yeah, but also Flint Hill's point guard didn't play. So, both of their top players didn't play. So it just ended up being a good game with all the others, and it was just a good game, man. Their sophomore guard hit a three to win it at the end. And all you gotta do is just have a chance to win, and they did, and they knocked down the shot. So, sucks for us that we get to play Flint Hill right after they beat Sidwell, but we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Rico. That's a huge win.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, I think they're in first place with that win.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they've come a long way in a couple of years. I mean that team was always talented, but they were hard to watch some games. They just in that conference there were sometimes a mismatch for some reason. So I'm really happy for those guys. Anyone else got any comment on that matchup? Yeah. Well, anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to basketball. And I know one thing we want to talk about right away is midseason transfers. Are they fair? Do they need to be looked at all? In particular, I went to the Tuscarora Broad Run game the other day, and Colin Bird had 32 points and looked great. I guess he was playing at Paul VI. I think originally he may have even gone to Loudoun County, I believe. I'm not sure about that, but maybe as a freshman. But he looks great and doing well, settling in, I think. I believe Justin Morrison from O'Connell is back at West Potomac and doing a great job. Is that right, Dave? Justin Morrison? Did I get the name right?
Chris.
I'm sorry. Chris Morrison. Yep. Thanks for correcting me. And then Jamison Ross from Patriot went the other way. He went from Patriot to Highland, which is I believe it's in Warrenton, a private school. But I don't know. There's been others. I know a few years ago, Coach Rivers had to face Jaden Harris in the postseason, a 25-point a game scorer from BI that transferred on the eve of the postseason. So what do you guys think about it? Do we need to look at this and see whether or not it's fair, or whether or not it should be open season? And does it matter whether it's private to public and public to private?
I mean, talking about it, things being fair, it is what it is. Like, stuff happens, but I just feel like there's you would hope that people would at least finish the season, and that's your hope. I can say that in my situation, this is the first time I've ever seen it go this way as far as a kid that was starting and playing leaving to go somewhere where he wasn't going to play as much. And they can have their own reasons, and the parents are going to do what they're going to do. And in the kid's defense, the kid didn't really know. The parents just kind of made the decision. But the thing that bothers me is like his coaches. I feel like there's just like one of those like kind of unwritten rules and stuff. And like you give guys heads up, you let them know that this person might have reached out to this person. Now listen, I know that, I have my issues with different people, but there are people I do not care for. But even people that I do not care for, I would give them a call or a heads up if a kid or a family reached out to me. I just would, because I just feel like it's just, what you should do. Some people, and I'm not going to say the person's name, feel like, well, it's recruiting, and that's just the way it goes. Like we're all college basketball coaches, and but at the same time, you have to go into a portal in college basketball, so that's an announcement of your intentions to leave, and now coaches can talk to you. What I come to find out is that this coach had been talking to my players during the season about leaving during the season, and the reason why I know that is because he also tried to get my point guard Elijah Gaskins to leave, and he didn't because his parents said we are not going to do that. So, if that's how you want to operate, it's shady business, but am I going to get into the part where it's fair and unfair? Like, listen, the game is the game. And I'm not going to cry about somebody doing something wrong to me. I'm just going to coach the kids that I got that want to be there and want to play.
Yeah. Anybody else have any? Coach Allison, I know you got called out about Chris Morrison.
We're talking about regulating stuff and talking about stuff. We should have been talking, regulating when you get a kid and you take a kid from a school or you recruit a kid from a school and you promise them the world or something like that, and you don't produce that, and then over recruit like it's a Division III, school where you're bringing 17, 18 kids in, that's that just seems odd. In my situation, Chris was first team all region point guard last year, and everybody knew that they recruited another first team all region point guard. So, two first team all region point guards on the same team, two cooks in the same kitchen, that doesn't really work out. Our guy, he wasn't, not getting the chance to even play his own position, having to be moved to a position and, those type of things. So, academically, all types of, just continuity with where guys have been for a while. I think that these schools, when they come in and they get kids to go to their school, they don't add in all those things. And I don't think they tell the families all of the factors that are going in there. How you get into practice every day, how you get in the games, guy lives 45 minutes away from the school now, that he was going to be going to. Like, these things aren't all factored in. Do I think there should be a regulation on, on time? I mean, there is. I had never had any player I'd never had a player come to the team, had mid-seasons, first time in my career, that things like that ever happened. So I know we had to look through the VHSL stuff, amount of games, maximum games you're allowed to play, total, you have to play 50%. I think they changed the rule from, who was the guy that played like the last game of the season before the playoffs? It was a few years ago. I can't remember which guy it was, but like there's a rule now, you got to play 50% of the game. So if you come,
it was James West's son at Freedom.
Sure enough. Yeah.
That's what it was.
So, all those things, but I agree though with Sherman. I do believe that kids go somewhere they should stay where they are for the year. But sometimes when it's clear that it's not going to work out for somebody, that's what's going on with us. Other kids leaving, and I'll put it out there. I reached out to coach. Wooten got nothing. No response. No, nothing. And we had to find out soon after, how many games the kid played, and my DSA reached out and got a response within 5 minutes. So, I think that's ugly business. It is the business, I guess, of high school recruiting to private schools, but it seems ugly to me. But in my situation, I'm glad the kid is back. He's been, Chris has been with us since he was a freshman. This is, I think, where he should be. His teammates, love him. His guys, the coaching staff, we brought him right back in. So I think it works out well for us here. It doesn't always for everybody. So, it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I don't have a dog in the fight, but I think yours and Sherman's is totally different. I think the kid that was at Patriot, like playing and getting it done or whatever, I don't even follow you like that, but he's starting, he's playing, and then he leaves. I think that's Dave. Yours is the kid's over there sitting, is like, yo, he should have been back. You know what I mean? So I think y'all got two different situations. So I get, again, no dog in the fight, but definitely two different situations.
no, I agree. Yep.
Can I just hate on the whole situation?
Yeah, you're good at that.
Like, I think I think like we're talking about maybe the private schools and how they go about doing their recruiting or whatever. I mean that's the game, right? If parents and kids don't want to ask the right questions and hear the truth, and you end up making a choice because you're excited about the name on the front of the jersey or some of the free gear, and you're going to go sit. Well, that was your choice. That was your bed laying it, right? I'm pretty sure, and I'm glad Dave mentioned they changed the rules because I felt like every other year in Prince William, and Sherman, you could tell me best because it was the other side of Prince William. I felt like there was a kid who dropped out of a private school and just played. Like,
I can tell you, I can for sure tell you about it because you guys brought up Jaden, but I played against the other one too. It was a kid that left DeMatha and went to John Champ. I forgot his name, white kid shooter, about 6'5", and he showed up right before the district playoffs started. So, I mean, like I said, I feel like it should be a cutoff. But I remember back when the kid left Western Branch, or was it Oscar Smith or the other way around during football season, and end up playing in the playoffs with another team and knocked out Colonial Forge. And
Yeah, that's the wildest story right there.
Yeah,
that one right there.
Right.
Wow.
And so it's like, there's wild stories, and it is what it is, man. Like, kids leave, but you got to think that there's got to be some sort of honor amongst the people that are in charge and not be in those type of practices, or at least be straight up with you about it, not being, sneaky. It's weird, just weird. And like I said, it is what it is, man. But people say a lot of things about me, and people feel a certain way about me. One thing you can say about me, I'm going to tell you what I got to say, and I'm going to say it to your face. And whether you like that or not, at least I'm a man about it.
Yeah, definitely not shy.
If you coach long enough, look, I don't know names, but this happened to us in 2016 or 17. Y'all talking about districts and all that. This was in the state tournament, state semifinals. We're playing against Bethel. And they had a kid who played at his private school the whole entire season. Private school got knocked out. He came to Bethel and played in the state tournament game, and we lost by 5, and that kid scored 6. I can't remember his name. I don't know his name, but y'all can go back and look. We played in Hampton against Bethel in the state tournament, and had the big 6'10" guy that went to Providence, then went to I can't think of all these kids' names, but definitely happened. But he played a whole full season, and then his team got knocked out, and then he came to his public school, which was Bethel. And we played against Bethel in the state tournament, lost by 5, and that kid scored 6. I'll never forget that.
Did he start for Bethel, coach, that kid?
I don't know if he started because it was like one of those type of deals where Friday night his team got knocked out. We're playing the state tournament on like Wednesday, and he was on the team. Wow. He was on the roster. Y'all can look it up. It's over with, but it definitely happened. Definitely happened.
I actually think in basketball it would seem to make some sense. We actually have a benefit in that we have a semester mark in the middle of the season. I definitely don't think a kid should be able to transfer and then play in the same semester at his new school. I think there should at least be he shouldn't be able to leave a school on a Friday and play on a Monday somewhere else. Like that semester mark, a kid leaves
left on Friday and played on Saturday.
Yeah, like a kid leaves.
He did for Highland?
A kid leaves his private school in late November, early December, and then he can play, but it's not until the second semester starts. It seems like in the winter season, there's almost that gap there that would seem like there would be some sense in like, all right, you can come, but you can't play until the semester turns over, or vice versa. They played, they played into the second semester. They shouldn't be able to just be eligible come state playoff time. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you police that. I mean, at the end of the day, especially if kids are going from private to public or public to private, that's a little different than certainly kids going public to public. I think the public to public transfer, the football one a couple of years ago was like he was at one public school through the first 10 games and then transferred to the other public school for the playoffs, and they played Colonial Forge in like a state semifinal, and the kid was like a Division I player. Like it's like that shouldn't happen. Like,
I mean, Doug, you said sense, right? Use the word sense.
yeah,
Bro, the administration, the people who make all the decisions, I think there must be a dollar sign that you get assigned to your salary that when you hit that, you just lose all your common sense. Like you must just get extra stupid from the way of the normal person, because if they use common sense, we wouldn't have 19 classifications. We wouldn't have 85 this and this rule changed that and this kid can play that. Like, let's be real. Like, don't use sense, because the people who make these decisions don't have any.
Yeah, like last night down in Richmond, John Marshall played Woodside. It was a great game, 2-point game, last second shot. You know, those are obviously two teams that should be in the highest classification in the state tournament. But you know, this is one of the biggest games they'll play all year because it's the way the brackets are and the way the rules are. I will say about Colin Bird, I was at the Tuscarora game that night. It was a great crowd. I've never seen a kid having so much fun and having so much joy on his face out there. So I don't know what happened to him at Paul VI. I can imagine he'd have a hard time getting playing time there. Not because he's not good, but I know they have a lot of great players. But
Playing time makes you smile, Julian.
What's that?
Playing time when you were getting it, and now you're getting it again. It makes you smile.
If you could check the video out on and if it just, I mean, you'll never see a happier kid in your life. On the court, he's just smiling. He's waving to the crowd after every basket. I mean, so it's just so beautiful when a kid comes back to their community school, or maybe the next community school. It's great to watch, and I think what you guys do with the public school kids is it's worth it.
So I wonder, how was that kid eligible that like left and played Friday and left on a Saturday, or he left on a Friday, played on a Saturday? I wonder, how is he even eligible when you got to unenroll? Like, you know, I didn't know all that stuff until this. You got to unenroll before you enroll. You got to get your grades. But then I know, like, for private schools, they're unregulated with the amount of games they can play. So I don't know how many games you guys played at Patriot, but you know, our guys are limited to 23, you know, regular season games, and a lot of private schools have already played 20 at this point, maybe 21 games at this point. So a kid can go there and play 10 more games. I just think that's, you know, and I'm sure they're selling that, you know, on the side there. I'm sure somebody's selling that, and you know, in the living room, it's like, hey, we can get you 34 games this season, 13 more than, you know, in that. And yeah, I just think, you know, somebody said it earlier. I think it may have been Mike. You know, there needs to be some honor among coaches, just a little bit of honor, in my opinion, just a little bit of honor. But
I think
know.
we're seeing the dawn of free agency in all sports, high school, college, pro. Kids, you know, people just want to move and jump around. Listen, this started, you know, with the AAU scene a long time ago. You know, kid was on one team, didn't get the shots or didn't get the playing time he wanted. He moved to the team down the street. You know, a week later, in the next tournament, he's playing with another team. And I think we're just seeing a learned behavior now where kids have moved around so much when they're little on all their AAU teams and rec leagues and county league teams that they just do the same thing with high school. And now kids move around in high school. They're in, you know, I talked to college coaches and they're like, I can't believe the kid transferred. I'm like, why? He was at 4 different high schools in 5 years. Like, why would you think he wouldn't leave you in college? Like, and then, you know, now we're seeing in the NBA, right? Guys they love free agency. They love being recruited. They love taking their meetings. And I think it's just the way it's trending now. It's, you know, it's free agency all the time, every year. You know, it's almost become like a 1 year. You have to coach the team you have for that year and not really. I mean, I almost say don't worry about the future at all, but like you can't look 2 years down the line with kids because you might not have them.
No, for sure.
That's right.
Which is a sad state of what we got into. Because I mean, a lot of us got into it years ago for the idea of building a program, get your 8th graders, and eventually walk these guys out in senior night, and you know, be excited about the 5 kids that made it from your 15 squad freshman year. And so when we're able to do that, I had that last year. We had a lot of those kids, and most of us, all of us, are really able to do that. Like that's such a rewarding situation when those guys are able to succeed with their guys, as opposed to like moving all around and not having a home to come back to. But good for everybody to decisions that they make and the parents' decisions that they're making, and we always wish our kids the best going forward.
The good thing is the vast majority of kids still stay. It's not like most kids leave. I still think, 85, 90% of the kids who start at one school stay at one school. So you still do get that 4-year bond with the kids. And I think what Coach Houston's saying is really important. And, that's certainly the fun part of being a coach is getting to spend time with those kids.
No, exactly right. Exactly. Well, let's move on to updates on some of your recent graduates. Now, Greg Jones at American is having an amazing sophomore year. He is truly a success story amongst public school kids that have opportunities to leave, to reclass, and don't do it. Greg is now shooting more than 50% from the field for AU. He's I think he's third in conference in free throw shooting. He's over 41% from three-point land and second on team. I think he's in the top 5 or 6 in the conference. Just having, I think, 4 or 5 rebounds a game. Just a tremendous year. How about, let's talk about some of the recent graduates and how they're doing. And Coach Carlos, first of all, are you surprised how quickly Greg is doing well at American? I have to admit, I knew he was going to do well, but I'm not sure I knew he was going to do this well by his sophomore year.
Am I surprised? I'm not surprised because Greg's a worker. It's just like how he was in high school. His freshman year, he kind of struggled, and then sophomore year, he started to make that turn. It's just that kid works a lot on his game, and you also got to think like he's finally 95% healthy now. He had a herniated disc his senior year in high school, going into his freshman year of college. So he played hurt that whole year, and with a whole bunch of rehab and stuff, he's pretty much back to himself, and the coaches trusting him, and he's flourishing over there with them with the amount of time that he's getting starting for them and all the numbers that you just spotted out. It's great. It's great to see. It really is.
Yeah. How about the rest of your recent graduates, Carlos? How are they doing? Holloway and the rest of the guys? Yeah.
Holloway is out for the rest of this season.
Sorry to hear that.
Braylon Wheeler is at Ottawa in a NAIA school. He's doing real good over there. I don't know what he's averaging, but he's playing behind a senior guard. And somehow, some way, he's a freshman over there. So even though he's when you see his thing, he's a redshirt freshman. So which is that's how basketball is now these days. Who else we got? We got David King's at Marymount he's doing well. He's been hurt these past few games, but hopefully he plays on Wednesday this week. They play Mary Washington. Owen is at Mary Washington. He's hurt. Who else we got? Donnie's doing solid. He don't start, but he gets a lot of playing time. He's playing pretty well.
That's Briscoe Bass. That's Briscoe Bass, right?
Yeah, Briscoe Bass. Yeah, Ashton Pratt is at a JUCO, averaging about 11 a game. Who else we got?
John Awoke.
Right?
John Awoke.
John Awoke is doing real solid. I wish he would have took the D1 offer that he got out of his freshman year, but he's playing that game, and we'll see what happens at the end of this year. He's at South Plains where there's legitimately 9 other Division I athletes on that team. So last year, he got the ball anytime he wanted, and this year he's literally playing a role. So he takes wide open looks, plays defense. So it's a little bit different for him. So we'll see what happens with that situation. But he told me he's talking to Murray State right now a lot, and a bunch of other Division I colleges. So we'll see what happens with that. And I know I'm missing somebody. Oh, Andy Ramirez is playing extremely well up at Richard Bland. He's averaging about 16 a game. So I think that's pretty much everybody. Marcus Rouse is at UVA, but he's a walk-on, so he only gets in when they up by 40. And yeah, I think this is what we got right now.
Yeah. Coach K, I know this is only your second year at Woodgrove. You got any kids from last year that are playing in college?
My best player from last year, Colin Fuller, is playing on the UVA club team.
Oh yes. Okay.
So he's liking that. The rest of mine are killing it in intramurals. That's all I got.
Yeah. My son probably referees Collins games down at UVA. Of
Yeah.
course, he's playing club.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
great.
doing well. He's a really smart kid.
Yeah.
He was a great player for us, and he can shoot the ball. So that'll get him on any team he tries out for.
Yeah, I was amazed when I talked to Coach Barlow this year. How many Division I players come from Woodgrove in football?
Oh, we have a ton.
It's
A ton.
unbelievable. He was just rattling off kids from the last couple of years.
It's crazy.
You're getting a lot of athletes up there. That's great. And
Yep.
Hey,
the
no
kid-
no disrespect to that UVA club team either. We took a tour of UVA a couple years back, and their managers have to try out to be on the team basketball wise. They got to go through a whole tryout. So
Wow.
we saw the UVA club team. Those guys can hoop.
Yeah.
They can hoop.
I will have you guys know I played on the JV team at UVA, so you guys should approach me with a lot more respect from this moment on. Anyone else? Thanks, Coach. Anyone else want to talk about some of their recent graduates, how they're doing?
Yeah, I can talk. We got the three guys that are down at Mary Washington: Zach Blue, Jay Randall, and Caden Bates. Caden's been dealing with a little knee thing that he was out for a little bit for. But before that, all three of them were starting. Zach and Jay, I know, are averaging in double figures, around like 10 to 12 points a game. So that's good to see. Desmond Hopkins was at Lynchburg. He decided that he was going to leave because he wanted to go to another school. He left before the semester started, the second semester. That way he could save that semester.
Oh, good.
But, he had good grades in the first part, and obviously it wasn't on bad terms, so the coach understood.
Great.
And so talking to the parents, so just in the process trying to figure out where he's going to go next. Nasir Coleman's at Garrett Community College. He's around 10 or 11 points a game, about 6.5 assists or so. Really improved his three-point shooting this year, shooting about 35, 36%. Courtney Davis is in Pennsylvania. I forgot the name of the school, but he's redshirting this year at a D2 school up in Pennsylvania.
Oh, great.
So he's sitting out this year. Trey Nelson is up at Clarion, up D2 up in Pennsylvania, and he's having a phenomenal year. Had a 20, 10, and 10 triple-double at some point in time. I'm guessing he's going to be one of the top guards as far as like postseason accolades for that. And then Isaiah Vick with Fork Union's playing very well. Had like 26 and 7 the other day. Playing, high level. Has been hearing from schools like Old Dominion. Where else he says a few other D1s, and then I know UNC Pembroke was one of the D2s for sure. And then Tay Barber up at Harvard, playing his role, doing things he's doing, been shooting the ball pretty well, and their team's doing okay.
That's awesome. I always felt Jay Randall was a very underrated player when he was up here. Glad to see they're all doing well. But
hey, is Vic is he going to be closed out soon? Like, is he going to like any of those offers going to materialize for him?
I think it is, especially as of late. I mean, after the break, he's been really killing. I mean, he's had a few games but I don't know. You never know with the recruiting stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like you said, they watch him play against top level guys. I know that he really gave Massanutten some fits the other day. You would think, and he's playing the 3 now. It's not even like he's
playing down low. Yeah, right.
So all the reasons that they gave for why they didn't before, all the things that he's doing currently, it just whether or not it shakes out that way, because clearly he's good enough to play at that level. But he goes where he wanted.
Yeah, for sure. Nah, I be seeing some of his highlights.
Yeah.
He be looking like he's doing well.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have the name as much as you guys, but Sherman, I was 2 weeks ago. I went down to see my former player, Miles Hancock, play at Virginia Western, and your kid Hopkins was playing. They was playing against. He left.
Yeah. He left.
2 weeks
so
ago.
it's
Wow.
yeah, literally 2 weweeks ago.
Okay.
So I think he was able to go ahead and for the little deadline got out of there. So I don't want to get into me logistics.
I saw him because I was gonna call you because I recognized. I said that's the kid from Patriot.
Yeah, I mean, it'd been up and down. He was out injured, so I think he only really played in about 4 or 5 games. So from an athletic standpoint, it's a redshirt year he can take. So he's still going to be considered a freshman. So, like I said, it was, I'm not necessarily told him to do that, but that was a decision that him and his parents had come to. So I'm going to support him in that and do the best I can to help him find his next spot.
Absolutely. Once they leave the nest, I mean, it's on the parents.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yep.
No, my one kid, Big Carlton, man, think he did one of the best things. A lot of people think, you got to go right away and play and all that good stuff. Well, he is redshirting at Augusta, and he's up there with Dip.
Oh, he's with Dip. That's all right. Yeah.
Dip,
That's
and he's
awesome.
redshirting, and his body has changed. He's enjoying, college basketball and figuring it out because when you in this area, you be the man or whatever. He only moved here for 1 year, so he was the man, and now he's at another place. He's got to get readjusted again. So I think this was a really good thing for him to sit out, learn how to eat because my boy likes to eat. So he's shaped his body and got used to college, and so next year hopefully everything will work out for him. He'll be doing well. And then Miles Hancock, like I just mentioned, he's at Virginia West, and Coach Macedo raves about him. He's a kid who understands it. He got 9 minutes in that blowout game that they beat Lynchburg. And after the game, we talking, and he said, "Coach, I'm good. I'm playing behind seniors, so I'm like he gets it. Where everybody else thinks like I got to go somewhere and play right away. Miles is like, I'm playing behind seniors. I'm getting better every single day in practice. I have a 3.9 GPA. I love where I'm at. And like at the end of the day, that's what sometimes we got to start to realize and let these kids understand. Go somewhere where you're going to be happy. That's the most important. But he is really enjoying life. Coach Macedo loves him, and he feels that he's going to be a big part of what Virginia Western does for the next 3 years. So those are just my guys from last year. I cannot ramble all the guys Carlos and Sherman did. That's amazing, y'all. Y'all need to have your own show because
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad the kid, it was really, I love watching Carlton play last year. And the district Liberty was so tough. It was a great year for the whole district. Every game was a battle. McLean was good. Even some of the teams aren't always good. Were good. Yorktown, everybody was good last year. And Carlton was obviously one of the best players in the district. So I'm glad they're both doing well. Who's next? Mike, you want to go next? Des?
Sure.
You got Kyle
I'm
Tang.
assuming Rochester's still playing at Brown.
Okay.
Yeah, so the 22. So KT, I believe he still starts and plays a lot for Lebanon Valley. Sammy Cooley, he's at Williams. He's been hurt a bunch of his career. EJ Finney is coming to town on Wednesday, and he's bringing Brian Kennedy with him because Elizabethtown plays at Catholic. Those two kids, are different situations. EJ is a junior, been through some stuff, understands the game a little bit, and BK's learned a little humility this year as a freshman. So those are just the guys off the top of my head that we've had the last couple of years that are playing. So I think Wednesday we're going to try to go down to Catholic and watch EJ and BK play a little bit.
Yeah. Coach, I interrupted you. You were talking about David Rochester when you first started.
Oh, I said I'm assuming he's still playing. I don't hear from that family, so I guess he's still at Brown and he's playing. So
okay, Coach Craig, I know you got.
Well, I always have
scattered
to follow Desmond. That's a guy who needs his own show. I tell you,
no doubt about it.
we have I have the two twins from last year are both playing college basketball this year. Sean Donovan actually is out for the year. He's going to take a redshirt year. He had a torn labrum in his hip, and he had some surgery back in early December. Did it in a fall workout, and so he's going to miss the whole year. So he's going to get a redshirt year back. So he'll be a redshirt freshman next year at Franklin and Marshall. And then Bryce Donovan, his brother, is at Dickinson College, and started out the year like a lot of freshmen at the Division III level, not seeing the floor except in 20-point wins. But actually, the last about 3 weeks, I'd say the last 4 or 5 games, he must crack that rotation because he's playing 10, 11, 12 minutes a game. Seems like he's doing a pretty good job, rotating in. I know that, I talking to coach that they felt like it might take him a little bit of time. So, maybe he's made some strides here over the second semester. He seems happy though. He really likes the school, likes its team, and is enjoying a part. And that was before he was getting a lot of playing time. So things seem to be trending upward for Bryce, and then hopefully Sean will get back on the floor next year. And I'm still waiting on baseball season to start. I got another kid from last year who's playing baseball at Franklin Marshall. So we're waiting to see if he'll crack in the 9-man lineup and maybe hit them where they ain't. So next year this year we'll see.
That'd be great. Well, thanks, Coach. Coach Halston, how about you? I don't think we covered your guys yet.
Yeah, I got a little bit of everybody. I got academy kid, BJ played for me last year. He's playing at an academy now. I got a JUCO. I actually like it over our place. We got a little bit of everybody. Got JUCO, academy, D2, D3, a couple D3s. Actually, I was at the game at American yesterday because my shooting guard from 2020 was plays for West Point. And so like I got a chance to go. And so we got a D1, a D2, a D3, a couple JUCOs. Daryl Mackey's down at Virginia State, finishing up there. Just like Carlos said, he's got a guy who's a freshman. When did Brandon graduate? 2019, I think, something like that. Something like that. And he's like a freshman. Daryl's still playing somehow. And then Jack Fricka, I have him over at Hood, finishing out over at Hood College. He's a really, really great situation that we've been talking about. He had an opportunity to go and basically sit the bench on a Division I team somewhere where he's a starter and the star at a D3 school that loves him. He's got the ball all the time. He plays all the time. He's able, he plays everything and he's happy. And so, we talked this summer, and I'm glad he made the decision to stay there and finish his nice career there. So, we had a lot of our guys. This year was weird. Everybody wasn't home at the same time. I know all of us on here love it, when our guys, over the holiday break or whatever, when you have just works out that, you got 3 or 5 guys that are home exactly at the same time. They all come by practice. They're all from kind of different years, and you just have great conversations about nostalgia and things like that. And, I think that makes the high school experience really, really cool. And they're able to talk to the young guys as well. So we didn't have it where all my guys could be back at the same time, but, we had a lot of guys, at different times coming to games and practices. So this guy's doing well. We have some younger guys that I think will be able to go on in the next couple of years and follow their footsteps. So it's good stuff.
I didn't mention this. It was Courtney School's Bloomsburg. That was the name of it, came back to me. But you talked about guys coming back and talking, made me think of it when Howson brought it up, was the Ja'Kai Moore. Obviously, he's not a basketball kid, but still playing football at South Carolina. He's going to be there again next season. He was able to come back during the break and talk to our guys. He came to all of our games down there, so that was just really cool. So I want to make sure I brought him up because he's, one of those kids, even though he wasn't a basketball kid at the next level, still super invested in our program.
Yeah, thanks, Coach.
Yeah, I got one more too. Braylon Cage, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
Up at Penn State Altoona, still getting about 11 minutes a game.
Nice.
Knocking down threes, doing what he do. So,
he's Angry Bird. Angry
Bird,
yeah. Great. And great work, Coach Halston. So let's I did want to ask you guys quickly. I had 2 great interviews last week with kids that you guys coach. With Greg, really enjoyed talking to him. He's really growing up. Just just a great interview. But also Merrick Realstone, the Aussie, the Kiwi, the New Zealand kid that's on the South Lakes program. Great interview. I wasn't surprised because kids that kind of live away from their parents, they have to grow up pretty quickly. But I really enjoyed talking to him. But one thing that he talked about was the 3-point line is different here than it is back home. They play the international 3-point line, which is about a foot further back than what you guys play with. I was curious if we moved it back a foot for you guys. And I know we've talked about the shot clock before, but what about if we moved the 3-point line back a foot? You think that would change the game a lot, or do you think the shooters would quickly adjust to the shot within, between seasons? Or do you think
I'll say something quickly.
quickly.
I'd like to say something quickly as a shooter. I think it would harm the game to move it back for reasons of young kids, depending on the age you're talking about, because young kids will start to form their shot just enough to make it there, and I think it will throw off shots.
Maybe they can have 2 stripes. Maybe they can.
If that foot throws them off that much, they weren't a good shooter to begin with. I'm sorry. It's not that far. It's not that much farther back.
If you're 10,
the kids we're talking about already have bad habits. Like the ones we're talking about already got bad habits. You know what I'm saying? Just it's one of those things. Either they are taught the right way or they're not. That extra foot back isn't going to change the game that much, in my opinion. And most of them shoot from that far behind the 3-point line anyway.
The game is terrible, and it's been terrible for a long time. Everyone just throws shit up at the rim. hoping 1 out of 3 will go in because some math nerd somewhere came up with a formula that this is the way to play. Most teams just throw jack three after jack three. So moving it back 1 foot, 9 feet, 15 feet, it doesn't matter. We all see terrible basketball where kids just jack three after three after three, anyways. So I don't know. I mean, probably the best person to ask because when Tony played, there was no 3-point line. So, like, he could probably give us the biggest difference of how the game has evolved. So moving it back a foot, 10 feet, who cares? Today's game sucks anyways.
I can say, I mean, I understand what Dave is saying, but if you all do the same thing, we all run camp. The first thing those 7, 8-year-olds do, they just jack up threes. I have an 8-year-old grandson, went to go see his game, jacking up threes. Every kid, every shot was a three. And in 1988 was the first year, 87, I believe, 87, 88 was the first year they had the 3-point line in Northern Virginia. I was a sophomore or whatever. I couldn't shoot.
Sophomore in college?
What?
You were a sophomore in college, right?
There you go. There you go. That was the first thing we did. Like, I remember them putting the 3-point line down in WNL. Like, and we couldn't wait for it to get done so we could jack up a 3-pointer. So 30 years ago is the same, but it's even worse now because these kids, that's all they do. So if you back it up, scoot it, it doesn't matter. They're going to shoot that thing, not shoot it, throw it. At the 7, 8 year, they just throwing it. There's no form, no nothing involved.
Could you run the same offense, Coach? I mean, would you have as much confidence in them shooting to run the same offense you run now, or would you change things if they move the stripe out?
Well, first of all, I don't have any damn shooters to run a 3-point offense or anything like that. I can tell you that right now. But I mean, I think as when you do have your shooters, yeah, you're gearing it towards the 3-point line or hitting the 3-point shot. And the worst shot in basketball, we all know, is when your foot is on the line. So I don't know how that would affect anything. They back ask your kid from South Lakes. Is he hitting a better percentage here than he was there?
He said he had to adjust to it. He said it was just because they weren't allowed to shoot anything but a 3 or much closer to the basket. So
no,
it was just
you're helping South Lakes because now any kid can come to South Lakes.
No, they can't.
They can shoot whatever hell they want. Kid said he could shoot it where he was
Sounds
at.
like
When
it.
comes to Mike.
Look, the whole thing with Merrick saying that they shot a lot of threes over there, the line was deeper, and this is harder here. If that was true, he'd make more threes than he made.
Right.
Don't look, kids. You want to come here? You shoot a shot that I don't approve. You're going to be over there with Sherman before you know it.
how about you, Coach K? I mean, at Woodgrove, I mean,
We can't make a layup.
We
can't make a layup. How are we going to shoot threes if we can't make a layup? Let me tell you something. The last 2 games we played, we scored 46 and 45 points.
Wow.
And it's funny, the last game that we played, I actually had a coach stat track how many layups we missed. And we missed 22 layups.
Wow.
Now that's contested, okay? Obviously I'm very pissed off about it. We still won the game. But in Loudoun, I'll just talk about the 3 in Loudoun, right? I mean, you go to a lot of games, Julian. We got teams in Loudoun that shoot 7 seconds or less in transition, and some teams hunt the 3. And look, Broad Run's a really good team, and we played them. We lost them 46-45. They averaged 70-something points a game, and the game plan was take away the 3-point line. So I think when you're coaching in Loudoun, you have to be able to either shoot it or prevent it. But if you can make layups and prevent it, you'll be in good shape. If you can't, then you'll be in my position right now.
I mean, I'm seeing lower scores this year than last year for some reason. The defenses are playing well, but in Loudoun, I mean, the mothers can shoot 3-pointers. I mean, everyone here
they shoot them from the stands. Yeah, they shoot them from the stands.
Everybody can shoot 3-pointers allowed. So, Coach Craig, how about you? Would you coach differently if they changed the strike?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like we do a lot of talk in terms of the 3-point shot with our guys, just talking about like what's a good shot for you. Like some guys, an open 3, 4 feet behind the line is not a bad shot. There's guys that can make that shot. There's some guys that can't, and we try to talk them out of taking those shots. And discussing what's a good shot for them. We don't tell any kid they can't shoot. I've never done that at Woodson. I always feel like kids got to have confidence to let the ball go, as long as it's a good shot for them. That's what we talk about. I think, for high school shooters that are good high school shooters, that foot's probably not going to make much of a difference. Um, I got some kids on my team that would not bother them. But it would probably affect the 20-25% of kids that can make a wide open three if you leave them, but really aren't great shooters. Those are the kids that would probably impact. Um, I think we would probably try to get those kids to stop taking those, because that extra foot would make a difference. But like, if I got David Gantimer lined up for a three and he's on the line or 5 feet behind the line, if it's open, I want him to shoot it. So
Yeah. How about you? How about you, Los? Would you coach you differently if they moved, or same? I think,
No,
yeah.
I keep everything the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go to
Just
team
real,
camp.
real,
We
real
play
quickly, just a
team.
hand. If who would vote for moving it back, and who would rather? Put your hand up if you'd vote to move it back. I mean,
Man,
I'm sorry. Yeah, move it back a foot to the international.
I
I
just
would vote.
vote everything. I just want it universal. I want the shot clock, everything universal.
I was say if you don't vote for anything, vote for the shot clock. The hell with moving the
Yeah.
3 point
I
line
mean,
back, all that.
I think
I
everyone's
mean,
going to
that's
vote for that.
that's what Lowe said. I want it to be universal. I want it to be
Yeah.
everybody to have the same rule. Like the fact that it's different everywhere you go, it's just insane.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, that's the only thing I want. I just want it to be universal,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah. So guys, I want to talk a little bit about how important you guys think the regular season is. So Madison this year is 0-6 in the district.
I
Now,
feel like
look,
that's the biggest surprise of the season.
that's one of the biggest surprises. We all know Kevin Roller's a great coach. So
Oh, and 6.
I'm not picking on Coach Roller. I used to coach with him, great guy, and they started off, solid. They had a couple nice wins early, but it just hasn't gone well. I think the district is sneaky tough this year as well. I think Oakton's much better. Centerville has some good guards, obviously. I think Chantilly's decent. So I don't, poor Mike Desmond's just hanging in there with his two Division I players, and of course, Coach Harris is good as well. But how important is that? I mean, if you have a really poor regular season, and I know Coach Houston has been able to do well in the postseason after not being on top going into the postseason. Do you think how important is the regular season, and can you survive a poor record in the regular season?
I think it depends on the program. I think some teams have to weigh the regular season a lot heavier than other teams. I think it kind of depends on the health of a team, maybe who's coming back, who's getting better, and it kind of depends on your conference. I think if you're in a shit conference, it doesn't really matter 1, 2, or 3 if you're just going to have some nights where you just drop some games in the regular season for whatever reason. I think if you are in a conference that you have to get the 1 seed to qualify for regions, and I think that's a liberty, right, Bentley, where you have the odd number, so you have to qualify for the region, but with a 1 seed, that's
So we
different.
do that. That's a regular
Okay.
season. Like since we won the regular season, we're automatically a 1 seed in the regional tournament.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right. So I think that means like in the Concord, we only have 6 teams. So, that 1 seed, it's important, but also look where the conference tournament is going to be played. If you're hosting the conference tournament, you just got to get in, man, and you're at home regardless. So, I just think it kind of depends on the level of your program, what situation your program is going through at that time, what your off-season goals are, how does that really impact the next level? I'm sure the guys on here have had those teams that made those deep playoff runs over and over. The regular season can be boring if you have a bunch of returners that have had success. So,
Yeah. Anyone else want to talk about how important the regular season is to them, or success in the regular season is to them?
I mean, I think it's important for us, or just piggyback on what Mike said at the end, when you have an experienced team that's been there, yeah, the regular season can be boring, but you have to find ways to challenge them during the regular season to make sure that they're ready for what's going to happen during the playoffs. It's a big reason why I know that we play the type of schedules we played. I mean, we're sitting here right now at 16-4, and our 4 losses are to South Lakes, Riverside, who is number 2 in Division 5, Verina, who's number 1 in Division 4,
Mhm.
and a private school from Georgia. So, and we've traveled to go play these different teams in different places and played some of them at home. So now when we go to play like a Forest Park in a regional tournament, I don't have to worry about are they ready to play in a big game environment. I don't have to worry about it if we have to, because the way it's set up right now in the regional tournament, and hopefully everything goes the way that it's been going. If we get to the regional semifinal the way that the bracket is this year, because we have the Stafford teams in there, we're going to have to go at Potomac if they get to the regional semifinal, and that's a game to go to the state tournament.
Wow.
So now I don't have to worry about how they're going to react in the big game because we've already done it during the regular season. Last season, I mixed those games to all throughout. I mean, we played Lowston late in the year, and I had to see how our team was going to react to having an injury because Isaiah Vick couldn't play in that game. So it's just you want to take the guesswork out of the playoff runs. And the only way you can do that is by challenging yourself and going through different scenarios during the regular season. And then, like you said, you hope that your team makes growths. There's guys that might not be playing a certain role in the fall that step up and start doing stuff later. I had a lot of young guys this year, so it was a lot of growing that they had to do. Obviously we had the situation of a kid leaving, but I don't know a whole lot of times where you can have a kid leave and not be upset about it because we had other guys that have improved throughout the regular season that can take those minutes and not have it be a big deal. So I think the regular season is extremely important. And obviously for us in our area, winning the regular season championship automatically advances you to the region tournament as a 1 seed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, let's face it, Sherman. It's so unfair. Your region is so far and away tougher, the toughest road to the state tournament than anybody in football and basketball. I guess all sports. Well, there's 18 or 19 teams in the region.
We have the most teams in the whole state.
Where one of the regions is like it's 8 or 9 teams. The one, I think it's 6A.
Yeah, the one next to us. They have eight teams and we have 19.
And I'm not picking on my man, Coach K, because I live in Loudoun too. But they got these 9-team regions out here. So, 2 out of 9 teams go to state every year. And
right.
Anyway, we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But
Hey, so I just got a question. So, Sherm, no matter what, whoever wins your regular season is the 1 seed. What happens with the other? Like, how does that play out?
Well, see, the problem is when a 1 seed means that like obviously you advance and you get there, but the problem is now because you got to have a 1 from the Cardinals. So it's 3, 3, and 2 from Commonwealth. So you take the top 2 from the Commonwealth, the top 3 from Cardinal, and the top 3 from ours, and that's what it is. So basically it just means that no matter what happens in the district tournament, I'm going to be in my slot in the regional tournament.
Okay.
So that's what it means. Like we can.
And do y'all like that? Do y'all like that?
I like it.
I'm talking about the other coaches. Y'all like that?
It's like college. If you're a top team all year and you lose in the conference semifinals and now you don't get to go to the tournament, that's how I look at it.
Yeah. Well, I think the mechanics, and I don't know if Patriot National are doing double buys this year. Are you guys doing double buys this year?
I don't even know. I don't know our situation.
Yeah. But like Coach Houston, you're a guy who's been in the middle of the pack, and you guys have been able to do really well in the postseason. Do you worry? You guys are doing fine this year. Do you worry about the success in the regular season? Are you just trying to peak at the right time?
I wouldn't say middle of the pack. We were a 2 seed last year, but
Yeah, the year before that, you're a 5 seed.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
We were always like, between 1 or 2 games away. I don't really think you can have a poor, you said earlier, have a poor regular season.
I didn't mean like that, but I mean, do you worry about where you are? I mean, are you trying to peak or?
Yeah. For us, we have goals and we try to reach those goals, and those goals happen to be statistical, some things, and rotation wise, certain things, and we want to be at a certain place as we get ready to start the regular season. And on the way to reaching those goals, if we're able to get wins on the way there, that's perfect. That works out. That's like best case scenario. And then we go into the regular season feeling good about how we're playing. I'm not sure we said earlier, but health obviously factors into that, big time at the end of the year, so I think how you feel at the end of the year is really important. So, last year we played, we were supposed to play the Virginia Preps Classic, and our game got canceled. But last year we traveled all over, and we lost some really tough games down in the beach. But they were like great atmospheres. We lost by possession, those type of things I thought strengthened our team as we got, into the Patriot and then into our playoffs. So I think ours is a little different, where our league is really tough, and the teams are really close. So it's not, we had a game just the other night with Doug. I mean, that was a 3-point game going to the fourth. I mean, it was a couple possession game in the fourth quarter. So, our teams are, I think that gives us a really good a gauge of where we are when we go outside and place those tough teams. But I do believe there's a lot to the regular season. I don't think I realized that, in that other league down there, I'm not sure, Sherman, what your league is called, what that's called, but I didn't realize that the first place regular season, regardless of how you do in the districts, you automatically get a first round regional. So for that, yeah, your regular season weighs a ton.
It means everything. Yeah.
And
Only thing that the district tournament does is give you the trophy.
Yeah.
So what's the lowest that you could finish? Well, I guess there's nothing. You couldn't finish any lower than one. You couldn't be any lower than one no matter what. What happened.
But it could screw up other people that are trying to qualify if the one gets knocked out because you automatically go. So
Right.
let's say we would lose, and then the team that was at like the 3 was like, man, they don't go because maybe they got upset, so they're out because we're automatically in as the champ.
they got to win it.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, I think it makes the regular season important as far as in our area goes.
I think our league. So Julian, you asked about ours, and I found out last year the National, they did their district different than the Patriot did our district tournament, and then we ultimately have a region, which doesn't make sense when we actually have the same amount of teams in each district. It doesn't make any sense. We should be doing we had this conversation last year with Sherman. You guys had different numbers. You have 3 like districts that make your region or something, and we have the same 2 districts, same number. We did it completely different. But I think we are the bottom 4 teams have to play in to the top 4 regular season automatically advance to the regional tournament. The bottom 4 play in to basically a 6-team tournament, but the 1 and 2 get a double bye to the semifinals. So the bottom 4 will play in to play a 3 seed and then play
the way y'all do it is insane. Like I still don't understand it. I don't. Like you guys will be playing playoff games, but then have to go back and play at another round of a playoff game. Like it's crazy. Like what they've done up here is that you got to be in the top 4 to make it to the district tournament. If you're not in the top 4, you don't make it. And it's no disrespect to those other guys, but the last thing I want to do is have to play Osborne Park in the first round of a playoff game. Like, why? You know what I'm saying? It's just, like at the point, like
I hope they're not listening.
I mean, even if they're listening, they know it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. It's that you got to do something in the regular season to earn that right to get there.
They last year in that double bye thing in soccer, Woodson girls, they were 1-9. They started the season, they lost the first 9 games or something crazy, or maybe they're 1-9, and so it was a double bye. They won out and got all the way to state. It was crazy.
Yeah, and listen, that stuff happens.
Yeah,
it was all well and good, and I see both sides of it. It could be a Cinderella, but it really, like, we know this, and we talk about the level of basketball and how things are right now. Like, the bad teams are really bad, like really bad. Even like the mid-range teams aren't very good. The really good teams aren't as good as they've been in the past. Like, everything is down. So if you're going to be a bad team all season, why do we need to see you be bad one more game in the playoffs?
Well, Sherman, I have to say, I miss Battlefield and Patriot had generational talent 2 years ago for 2 years in a row. And the regular season games were like almost like the Big East back in the 80s, not in terms of talent or physicalness, but the gyms were packed. There was energy in those gyms. Even the regular season games.
Listen, our regular season games with them are going to be that regardless of what type of people are there. I mean,
it's different.
Our game last, listen, you should have been the one the other day if you think it's different because it was insane. but it is what it is. It's like the rivalry games are going to be that. The tough games are going to be whatever it is. They might not be the same level of talent each year with the kids, but it's like you said, it's the regular season's got to mean something. It can't be like, oh, let me just go through the motions. I mean, how many people fuss about the NBA all the time? I think it's nonsense, but they talk about, oh, they don't do anything until it gets to the playoffs. If the regular season didn't matter, you'd be watching a bunch of high school games. And listen, there's a lot of bad games to watch. Why do we want to watch that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Coach K, the road to the state tournament, and we don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but I mean, there's all kinds of opportunities in Loudoun.
Yeah.
So you guys are playing well. You got some guys back from injury, which is fortunate. Tell us about those guys. But it must make you feel good, even though you don't have to win the district. It must make you feel good that you guys are playing well.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel good because for us, the regular season matters too, maybe for different reasons than these guys on the panel. I'm still trying to build my program. So when you come off a 22-win season like we had last year, and then you start your season this year banged up, and we were 2-7, I want to say, at Christmas break. Now, we had to play Patriot, Atlee, Riverside, Nansman River. So the one thing that I was proud of with my group, and one thing that I'm proud of about my kids in the program is for a Loudoun team, I take pride in saying we don't duck anyone. And I know that some of my peers, coaches in Loudoun do, and that's fine. You know what? I mean, to each his own. But if I'm going to try to build my program up to the way that I want it to be, I want to play the best of the best. And yeah, guess what? Patriot whooped their ass, but we had a moral victory that at half the game was close. And that's something that I still reference back to my kids every day, actually, and, let them know, like, hey, guys, if you can compete with them for a half, you can compete with pretty much anyone. So when, we're 2-7 at the break, as I said, we're 9-8 now. So we've turned the season around. We got Kenny Chicos back, who's our point guard, and he's a phenomenal player. We got some other role players back. We got some kids that I did not expect to step up the way they are. I want to give a big shout out to Will Twetton. He's a junior. He had a stretch where he was averaging 22 a night for like 4 games. So he's been playing well for us. But yeah, I mean, the 1 seed, I think we're similar to Sherman's situation. If you get the 1 seed in the regular season, you automatically go to the regional tournament. And my thing, we were fortunate enough to do that last year. This year, it's going to come down to that final game with Broad Run. If we end up the 1 seed, great. If we end up the 2 seed, then we have to just make it to the championship of our district tournament to make it to the regional tournament. And then from there, all you have to do is win 1 region game to go to the state tournament. And Woodgrove's never been to the state tournament, so that's a goal that we're trying to reach. Last year, I think we peaked a little early, and we were kind of good all year, and then we got bit in the butt there in the regional semifinal. So this year, I think we're kind of peaking at the right time and playing our best basketball late in the season. So hopefully, it all works out. But for me, regular season is huge, and playing the best of the best is huge, and I'm going to continue to do it, throughout my career at Woodgrove.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Coach. Coach Tony, at Wakefield and in the Liberty, it doesn't really matter who you play in the postseason because all the teams are always so even. You could be 2 through 7, usually, or it doesn't matter. It just depends on how they're playing. Like Langley, probably 3 weeks ago, you'd want to play Langley. I think they've won like 5 or 6 in a row. And that's the way it seems like it's every year in that district. How much do you worry about record and regular season records these days?
These days, I mean, I'm watching it. I mean, because like you said, me and Coach O'Brien from McLean were talking at the beginning of the year. It was like you can go from 2nd to 7th in one night. You know what I mean? And that's happened. WNL was sitting right at 2nd place at one point.
Yeah.
Now they're down at 7th place. But we are all even, except Yorktown has stretched itself a little bit. But then Marshall beat them the other night. Yeah. On any given night in the Liberty District, it's wide open. Marshall and I played to a 35-34 game. So you're going to score some, you're not going to score. We all know each other so well. At the end of the day, man, it comes down to the Jimmys and Joes, to see what's going to happen. But this year's, it really doesn't matter because if you get the 2nd seed, you're playing against a 7th place team, which is good enough to beat the 2nd place team. So it really doesn't matter this year. But, yeah, there's onus on your conference play and all of that good stuff. I think Dave is probably the only one on here that can really say, like, being in 5th place and then winning out, that was something that, wasn't heard, especially with the Patriot District. So you've got to put onus on it. But with us, top 4 teams advance and go to the region. And that's all we want to do is try to finish in the top 4 after the first round of districts. So that way we can finally play somebody different, because everybody knows in our conference what Wakefield does. Everybody knows what WNL does. So once we get a chance to get out, anything can happen. When you place a team from somewhere, anything can happen. So our goal is always to be top 4. If we finish first, great. We finish 4th, great. We just want to move on. As far as me and my career, I want a district, I want a region. Never won a state, been there several times, but you want to give yourself a chance by, getting that top 4 in your district so you can move on and have a chance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Coach Carlos, let's start with you and go through some of the districts and see and give our analysis on what's going on in the districts. Obviously, you guys are 10-0.
Hold on, Julian. Can you give Carlos about 10 seconds? Just give him 10 seconds.
Yeah, put it on your computer. Put the names of the team.
Yeah, give him 10 seconds.
No, Billy, I text him after the last show the list of teams. I said,
he's good. He's good.
I said, study. It's coming up.
and they still can't beat them. So, but Coach, you've done a great job this year of playing some really tough out of conference games. You got Flint Hill tomorrow night, which is going to be a great game. By the time this is published, it's tonight. It's Monday night. But you play tough games. You play tough games all year long, so you should be ready. But how are you playing? But when you look down the district, Edison's 7-2, TJ is 7-3, which is a little surprising, I would think. Shout out to Coach Mark, and Annandale is 6-4. Are those teams just benefiting from a light district, or are they playing well? Those 3 teams.
I mean, I feel like it's for Edison. Everything that they went through with Trey. I think Dom is doing a good job over there these past couple of games, getting them prepared, and they're still winning basketball games. So, we play them. We play them this Friday coming up, so that's going to be a good game. See what happens with that. Last time we played them, Isaiah Skinden was not playing, so and they're big kids, so they were missing 2 starters. So I know that Friday is going to be a little bit different. I'm looking forward to that. But as far as Jefferson and what Mark is doing, man, I feel like he's doing a hell of a job with that team this year. He lost all his top 7 guys, I think. He lost his top 7 players. And for him to be sitting at, what'd you say, 7-3?
Yeah, 7-3.
Yeah, 7-3. They beat Edison once. I feel like that's great. I feel like he's doing probably the best job of his career right now, with the group that he has. So shout out to Mark. And Annandale, man, Annandale's a scary team because they shoot a lot of threes, and you catch them on the right night or the wrong night, somebody could go home losing. So and they, I feel like they got a couple of guys who can get buckets like one-on-one wise, where in the past they didn't really have those type of guys. So this year they got like 2 or 3 guys that could get one-on-one buckets. They like. Even though we probably beat them by however much we beat them by, the first half of those games be pretty tough. So we just
Go ahead. Last time we talked, Coach Carlos, you guys were in a little bit of a plateau. Started off the season pretty strong. Are you feeling better about your team going into the postseason?
Yeah. I feel like we're good where we are. It's been hard trying to get victories versus some of the top-notch caliber teams. So we'll see. We got one more shot tomorrow, and then we finish off our district and then try to get ready for this playoff run. I'm just trying to get ready for the playoff run. So and I feel like our guys are starting to come together. We figured out like who our top 7, 8 guys are. Our rotations is pretty much good. So like once it's time for that playoff run, and that that bench gets tight, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that part of it versus trying to get all 14, 15 guys in every game.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Anyone else have any comment on the National District? May have played them, or are we good?
Hey, before y'all go to the Patriot District or whatever, I gotta give Doug his credit, man. He said Robinson was going to be better this year, and they really are.
Yeah, of course. That's what we do at Robinson. That's what we do. We beat expectations.
Doug was the only one on this panel to say that, though.
Yeah.
And yeah, Yeah, they actually, I don't know what their record is, but I know that they're doing a lot better than what they've been.
They're 5-5 in the conference. They're tied with West
So
Lake Braddock
they're
and
at the
West
top of
Spring.
the conference.
What's that?
They're like the top 4 of the conference or whatever.
Yeah, well, they're tied with Lake Braddock and West Springfield. All 3 teams are 5-5. It's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, and well, let's go to the Patriot. Start with Doug.
No. Hold on. Pause. Okay. I'm gonna say this, and I know other people think this, but people on this panel may not say it out loud, but I don't really give a fuck. Before we talk about the Patriot, can we acknowledge it's 2025? It's not 2017, 18, 19, or 2020. I don't want to hear how good it is. It's not good from top to bottom. It hasn't been good from top to bottom for years. Let's not, the Patriot. No, we're not doing that. If that's what we're going to do, Doug, Cave, do what you got to do. I'm going to go away. Somebody call my phone when we moved on. We're going to tell the truth about this district. Please.
Mike, that's unfair. Last year, that district was tough. It was strong.
Let me know, other than Hayfield, when they were in the Patriot, a team from the mighty Patriot district, when's the last time they went to the Final Four of the state? When's the last time they went to the state? I don't want to hear about how great the fucking Patriot district is from top to bottom. It's not the late 2019, the 20 teens. It's not 2020. I don't want to hear how great it is. I'm sorry. It just hit a nerve with me. Dave, I love you. Doug, I love you. But let's be real. We're talking about Robinson's better this year. They're 5-5. Shut up.
Robinson beat Broad.
Yes.
Beat Broad Run.
Shut up.
Oh, I love it when it's not me.
Hey, I was just saying, hey, yo, they said that team wasn't good.
Okay, but look, let's talk about some things, right? Just because you have a cold and not the flu, that's still not good.
Well, Coach Craig and Coach Howson, you're being called out for being in an inferior conference. What's your response? You want to go first, Coach Craig?
I don't know what to say to that. I mean, I thought last year we had five really good teams in our league. I think
it was tough last year.
We finished fourth last year. I'm pretty sure Carlos, in that regional tournament game, didn't feel like that was a walk, and they were the mighty Hayfield. And when they went undefeated in the state tournament, we finished fourth in our league, and it was a 5-point game with 2 minutes to go. So I don't know what that is. I think if you're going to come at our district for being down, I mean, we really want to talk about some districts being down. There are some choices on this panel that are way worse than the Patriot district.
See, now you're twisting words. He didn't say that you guys don't have good teams and that everybody else isn't down. Just every year we have to hear about how from top to bottom, it's so tough to play in, and it's not the truth right now.
I'm just saying, our inferior conference's fourth place team, Lake Braddock, beat Jefferson by 20 at Jefferson this year, and we just got through talking about how great a job Jefferson's done.
Hey, listen, just because.
Okay, so let's call a spade a spade.
I don't want to talk bad about other people.
Sherm, come on now.
Let me be quiet.
Listen, I've seen some games and teams in your league.
Hey, listen, and we're kicking their ass, so I know that they're bad. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're getting twisted. I'm not saying my league's better than yours. I just want us to stop acting like this is the 2019-20 season when you guys had four legitimate state.
I think the problem is nobody on here really understands what it's like when you could actually lose to every team in your league. Like, it's actually possible that a team in your league could beat every team. And Doug and I have been like, there certainly were years that we were talking about.
That's not as strong this year as it has.
There were certain years that Robinson wasn't great, and then we had a couple teams that weren't great. But you're talking about 6 seeds that could beat 2 seeds and 3 seeds. We were a 5 seed. We beat a 4 seed. We beat a 2 seed. We beat a 1 seed to win it. That was the road that we took to win it as a 5 seed. So not many people on here, even when looking at standings, you're looking at teams that got 1 and 18, 2 and 19 for the season. We don't have a lot of those, and it makes the league strong. We never said that we have 5 teams that could win the state championship every year. I don't think that anybody's coming on here saying we got 5, 6 teams, but we typically have 3 of the 4 teams in the regional Final Four that come from our league, and only 1 can get out of there. And then that team has lost to Hayfield, except for the last year. That team has lost to Hayfield a couple of years, And so the conference is this year is I don't think it's as strong. The top teams are as strong, but I think it is just as competitive.
Dave, how important is Chris Morrison to your team? Is that moving to another level, having Chris back?
I mean,
he's a first team all region player.
Chris was a first team all region point guard last year. He was a second team all district point guard as a freshman. So naturally, if you give that person to any team, they're not going to be worse. We have a couple of weeks, which is great. We have a couple of weeks before before the playoffs start, which I don't think we have 6 games left. I think 6 games left or so before the playoffs start. So that's a lot of games to kind of get acclimated again. But, we got a kid that's coming from a shot clock to non-shot clock. So there's certain tendencies that are, that we're having to try to take out. But yeah, he will be a difference maker. He can do certain things that other guys in the team can't do. But I love my players. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna put this out there. My guys that have been there since day one, that we were able to, grind. We were 3-3 in the conference before we got there. So it's not like, we did a solid job before we got there, and those guys have been, giving me their all, and I think they're going to continue doing that, getting ready to go for the playoffs. But our conference is good. I think a lot of teams can beat a lot of teams. I think Robinson does shoot a lot of threes. They make some. West Springfield is significantly better. We played them in December. We played them again a couple of weeks ago. They're significantly better.
They're one of the biggest surprises this year, right? West Springfield. They're got to be one of the biggest surprises this year, right? West Springfield.
I mean, most of the teams have returning players, and a lot of them that either they didn't play a ton last year, they did play a ton, but a lot of guys, are coming out with a lot of players, and a lot of their guys are returning players also that played a lot. So I think just like Robinson, they got guys that have now been starting for a couple of years, and they got some more continuity and they're a little bit tougher. But I think all those teams are tough. I mean, you look at the standings, everybody's chunked up at, 4 losses, 5 losses, and, a lot of teams like that. So except for Doug. So I think it's going to be a battle royal in the middle.
Yeah. Yep. So it looks like I think Woodson's firm control. You haven't clinched yet, Doug, but probably 1 or 2 more games and you're probably
I think if we win both this week, we'll clinch the 1 seed.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But I mean, on the road at Lake Braddock, I don't know. It just seems like I definitely think the league is not as strong as it's been, the last 10 years. I think Davies' team's a very scary team now with Chris back, because now it's not just bringing Chris back, but it's also slotting everyone else on his team into a better role for them. So now his second best player can be his second best player and not have to be the best player. And that certainly helps. Anytime you bring an all region guy, it kind of slots everybody else in a better position. And I think there was, Lake Braddock, Robinson and West Springfield they played a lot of young guys last year on varsity, a lot of sophomores. And so now those kids are now juniors, and you're seeing that they're improved and they're better for having played those guys last year. And then I think there were a lot of teams in our league that just lost a lot of seniors. I think Dave's team lost a lot of seniors, and they had 3 kids transfer out. Alexandria City graduated their top 6 of their top 7 players, and then their best returning player transferred out. Fairfax lost a lot of guys. And so a lot of those teams are kind of, they had to reload this year with younger players, but I think that those younger players are starting to improve. And that's why I think you're seeing there's a lot of parity in the middle of the league. And yeah, we've managed to separate ourselves a little bit, but it's not like, these games. We played a really tough game with West Potomac, played a tough game last week with Robinson. I think we're a good team. I think the team I have this year would have been at the top of the Patriot or near the top of the Patriot any of the last 10 years. I mean, we have a good team. I mean, I start, arguably 5 guys that might play college basketball. We're not a slouch and a pushover, and that's fine if other people think that we are. And we'll just show up and play, hopefully, when it matters at the end of the year, and we'll sort it all out. I like my team. So, and
congratulations to Chilton. I think that's his name. He got a D1 offer from West Virginia.
Yeah, we're just a mediocre Patriot program with a guy with a high major offer as a sophomore. We suck.
Mike.
Yeah, see how he took it personally, like we're talking about his team.
I'm the only one.
It's okay. I take things personal every day. So you guys.
I love you, Sherman. It's not right. Hey, listen.
Good.
We suck. I just tell everybody we suck. That's what I say that all the time anyway.
Hey, you and Desmond sandbagging since the offseason.
Exactly.
Oh, 100%.
100%. Yeah. So, well, Coach Bentley we touched on the Liberty when we talked with you. Anyone else have any comment on the Liberty? I went to the Marshall Yorktown game the other day. Marshall's defense and rebounding were just great. Yorktown, their redhead guy, the big guy, Ruben, I believe his name, didn't play, but they looked like a team had already clinched. That's how that was their body language on the court. Marshall needed the game. They look good. They look really. Their point guard, his older brother played a few years ago. Had a nice game. So, anyone have any comment about the Liberty? We touched on it earlier.
Nah, I mean,
It's gonna come down to the end, my man. That's where we are. It's gonna come down to the end, and everybody knows it. Like, I mean, I even think now Yorktown knows it, because Yorktown was coasting, and rightfully so. There's a really good basketball team. But now, once you see a team that we thought was untouchable,
they get hit.
Yeah, like Mike Tyson said. You know what I'm saying? So once you see that, now everybody else is like, okay, we can do the same thing, because there's been several teams that Marshall has lost to. So those teams are sitting back on, well, Marshall beat Yorktown. They play that game, but you still got to, play. But I think Yorktown's going to be better for that. I think Joe will now be like, all right, we lost one now. Better lose one now than to lose it in the tournament. So I think he's going to get those troops back together. Everybody's just playing, good basketball when it counts. So it's going to be – it makes it fun. When you got – two teams at the top and you just sitting there worried about those two, that's all you do is waiting for that game. This one, every single night, you're like, oh shit, we playing such and such. It's a night in, night out battle, and it's going to come down to the last, few, possessions, and whoever's going to win the Liberty District.
Yeah. Yeah. And Yorktown Pilot, who usually scores probably between 10 and 15 a game.
Yeah,
He scored 1 point the other night.
Marshall did a good job. They did a good job against
Good job. Well, thanks, Coach. Let's go to the Concord. Obviously South Lakes is cruising at 6-0. They beat Westfield.
Somebody call Des. Des, we're back. We're back, Des.
So we're gonna go without them. But Westfield, Coach Carlos tells me their point guard did not play against South Lakes. Is that true, Coach Carlos? Westfield's point guard is like one of the best players. I believe he didn't play. What's that?
He did not. He did not
play. Yeah. So it was a reasonably competitive game. The kid from last year was a champ, played point guard instead against South Lakes. What do you guys think? Centerville's 3-3, some nice efforts. I think they beat Potomac earlier this year. Oakton and Chantilly, 2-4, but they have not been easy outs for anybody. Anyone have any thoughts on the Concord?
Well, I saw it was a close game with Potomac and Westfield. I mean, not Potomac, Oakton and Westfield. I saw that game was close.
It was close also, right? Yeah. So,
but I don't know. I mean, I haven't really, I don't really know, to be honest, about that conference yet.
Yeah.
I watched the South Lakes Westfield game, the second half of it, but other than that, I really haven't really paid close attention to it. But I saw that Madison didn't win no conference games. That's the only thing that stood out to me.
Madison, like all their games, I've seen their scores. They're like very close games. So like, seems like all their games are like 1 or 2 possession games. Those are kind of teams that even though they're losing them all, scary come late. When you get to a 1 possession game in a playoff game or one of those last games of the season, those are tough ones.
Yeah, those regional matchups with Liberty and Concord are going to be very, very complicated. When we go to the next round.
So for y'all, Tony, for y'all region is 6-6. How is that?
What you mean?
Like y'all like for your conference, you get 6, and then
yeah.
So it's the final four. The final four in districts. The final four in districts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Top four, their top 4 play each other.
Right.
Yeah. So like for example, if in the Concord only has 6 teams, and the 1 and 2 get a bye, so they're automatically in the regional. In the Liberty, there's only 1 bye because there's 7 teams.
1 bye.
Besides that, it's the exact same.
Yep.
Yeah.
Des is back now. We can all stop talking bad about him.
Yeah. No, we just.
I took my dog out to use the bathroom, and I was just contemplating if South Lakes gets into a playoff situation, how we can somehow defeat the 15th place team in the Patriot District. Like I heard y'all twisting my words. Like let's not twist. I'm not saying your teams aren't good. I'm not saying our district is great. I'm just saying I couldn't sit through another thing where the 8th place team in the Patriot District would come into Ruston and beat the snot out of South Lakes because they play a Patriot District schedule. That was my gist of it. Didn't mean to offend anyone, but just because I offend you doesn't mean I'm not telling the truth. Yeah. So Concord that we're at.
No, we're Concord. Basically, we said that I mentioned the Westfield Southwest
Oh yeah,
game.
talk about that game, Des. Talk about that game.
Yeah.
So I did a little thing on social media after the game where I had to explain to a reporter what sarcasm meant. They really thought I was excited about it. I think Westfield is the most talented team in our district, in our region. They did not have 20 points a game. 20 points a game was sitting on the bench that night. It was a defensive struggle from both teams, or an offensive struggle for both teams. And I'm very confident that they're going to, when they're healthy, when they're interested, they're going to beat everybody.
Mike, that was a game. If there was a shot clock, you would have had several violations in the last 3 minutes.
I did it to piss Carlos off.
I saw that, yo.
Yeah. No, I've stopped coaching offense this year. They don't want to listen, so I don't really care anymore. I think we're really good defensively. I do. I think we're a good defensive team, but no, I mean that game was ugly, and Tony I think said it right, or maybe it was Sherman, like playing to the rules. Playing to the rules.
Yeah. I want my money back, even though I got out of press pass.
Man, y'all was hating so bad on that though. Oh
no,
that was so much hate. Oh my God.
It's gonna be an interesting run for the way the Concord is this year. I don't know about the other districts. Like we haven't played roller yet. We played roller 2 of the last 3 games. And I don't know why it was set up that way, but everyone in the Concord, like Oakton and Centerville, that's a great matchup. They're chasing that 3rd seed with Chantilly's in that mix too, but Oakton and Centerville play each other 2 of the last 3 games. And then, Westfield will play Chantilly 2 of the last 3 games. I don't know why it's set up that way, but it is. So the regular season ending's a little different. But yeah.
Yeah.
Westfield's really good.
Yeah, Westfield's strong there. He definitely has some size, but they're still relatively young. And I definitely would not want to necessarily.
No, don't do that. Don't do that again.
They are young.
No, don't do that again. No, don't do that again.
Age or grade? What do you mean?
Right. Be specific.
Oh, Mike, you're a mess.
People said it about us last year. I'm like, well, by age, maybe not, but by grade, we are.
I wish Kevin was on here to defend himself. But,
what's he going to say?
Well, let's go to Prince William County and do the Cedar Run. Again, it's much more competitive than it was last year. But Patriots already, as I mentioned earlier, is already, I believe, clinched. But Gainesville and Freedom's always there. They're always like right there trying to get into the top 4. They're 6-3. Gainesville, I believe, is 7-3 or 8-3, and Battlefield is 6-4. Coach, obviously you're feeling great about where you are. How important is the loss of the transfer to Highland to your team, to your success, future success? And what do you think about Gainesville, Freedom, and Battlefield?
Well, as far as the loss of the transfer, and I've said this to other people when I've talked to them, from a basketball standpoint, it is what it is. At this point, I think it's more so about the future of what that kid was going to become. But let's be real, he wasn't going to stay a Patriot for the whole time he was there anyway. Because if we talk about looking at the history of like family members, his brothers went to 3 different high schools. So, I mean, it is what it is. I think that we had guys that were doing things a little bit at a higher rate than what he was that are now starting to play more minutes because of it without him being there. So, we miss a kid that's a starting 4-man, and then, we literally scored 92 points a couple games after he was gone. So I think we're going to be okay. As far as like our league goes, I always admire what the Freedom South Riding coach does over there. I think he does an excellent job with the group that he has. I think he's a very good coach, and he gets his kids to play hard. I know that we've won a lot of district games over the last some odd years, but every time we play them, it is always one of our tougher games of the year. If you look at it, those are probably outside of the Gainesville game. Those are our closest games in district play is playing against them. So, that I thought that they were going to beat Battlefield the other day, and they did. And I can't say that I'm upset about it. So anytime that they lose, I'm all for it. And I think that they'll probably get them again because they got to play again this week coming up. I know that Gainesville was very upset after taking that loss to them, but I can't say I'm shocked. I just think he does a really good job with his kids, and they play really hard. And if your kids aren't going to match their intensity level, they're going to probably come out with a win. It reminds me a lot of, what Roller does with his Madison kids, but he has a little bit better athletes, I think, at times than what they have. So they could do a lot of some same stuff with their continuity and backdoor action. So you got those teams kind of battling out. I know that we've already clinched the 1 seed, but it'd be nice to finish out undefeated. We got OP on Tuesday, and then Gainesville to finish out the regular season on Friday. And I'm sure they love nothing more to say that they got that win. He couldn't wait to tell me that he would see me in February. Like I didn't already know what the schedule was when we played him the first time. So I'm sure he's going to be really amped up for that. And then I'll see the other side of the county with our region. Potomac just beat Forest Park for the second time. So that's a big win for them as far as trying to make sure that they get the 1 seed over there. Forest Park, was right there in both games, a triple overtime game in one, a 7-point 49-42 game in the other one. Aaron over at Woodbridge has his kids playing really hard. I know that, Garfield has had a couple good wins here or there. So I don't remember what the top 4 is over there, but
Potomac's 10-0, Forest Park's 8-2, Woodbridge is 7-4, Garfield's 5-5, and
That's what I
Colgan's 4-6.
So Garfield and Woodbridge split too. So, obviously going into the last week or so of the season, it's looking like it might be Potomac, Forest Park, and Woodbridge as far as advance to the regional tournament, but Garfield's right there. And then down in the Commonwealth, you have Brook Point and Commonwealth and Colonial Forge in the first 2 slots. We're just going to keep trucking along, keep trying to do the things we do. I know a lot of people wanted to kick dirt on us graduating the kids that we did, and I understand that they were very good basketball players, but I have a lot of faith in our coaches, and our kids work really hard, and sitting at this point and 10-0 in the district and 16-4 with the losses to the teams that we lost to. I'd take that any day based off the teams that we lost, and hopefully we can continue that and, get the district tournament title and also the regional title to defend those trophies.
Yeah. Forest Park has a transfer in left-hand guard that I like a lot. So I saw him early against
number 11.
Yeah, I saw him against Riverside. Yeah, left-hand
Yeah,
kid.
he's a very, very dynamic guard. I think he's their most important player, in my opinion. Obviously, the point guard is very good, and the big does a lot. But when that kid, number 11, has it going, and the other thing that they're very underrated with those 2 guards, even though they're smaller guards, they defend extremely well. And as far as pressuring the ball, which is probably why they give Potomac issues because they're a guard-oriented team. And I know when we played them, I told our guys, I said, you got to get serious today because those guys are ready to play.
Yeah. Coach, I still have that memory of that running clock loss to Oscar Smith by Potomac. Have they, but they have a great young point guard, Amani Dare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the kid a lot.
I can't remember his last name. Amani something. Yeah.
Amani something. I think he transferred from O'Connell. What do you think? How good is Potomac?
I think it's kind of like what you said. They got, a young guard who's their best player. That's probably going to be in the district player of the year over there. They got some kids that have been on those teams that have made those runs with the few of those bigs and a couple of the other guards. You play Oscar Smith, you got to be smart about how you attack them. You're not going to just get up and bully them and press them into submission because they're athletes. And that doesn't scare athletes. So I think maybe I didn't watch the game when they played Potomac, but if I had to guess based off of me seeing their other games, they're not overly dynamic in the half court offensively other than one guy. And then when you're not, that means you have to force turnovers. But if you're trying to make a team play fast that wants to play fast and out of control, it's going to end up being a track meet. You better hope you can score 80, which clearly they did not. So I think that they're a good basketball team, a well-coached basketball team. And, it's looking like, the collision course for us, as it always is every year. And this time it's going to be to see whose season's going to end, as long as we both take care of business in our different brackets.
Yeah. Anyone have any comment on Prince William County teams? Well, let's go to Loudoun. We'll start with the Catoctin, which Coach Carlos and I are just learning how to pronounce tonight. Broad Run is 4-0. Woodgrove 4-1 in county. I think they're playing a little bit. Loudoun County is playing a little bit better. They're 2-2. 5-team conference. Broad Run is one of the best shooting teams I've seen in the area. They're reminiscent of the way Yorktown could shoot the outside shot. And, kind of a similar team. They have a big guy that was last year at Briar Woods. You guys reminded me. Does a good job. Got his name, Coach. But they are definitely a solid team. What are you thinking, Coach K?
Yeah, I mean, Broad Run is the cream of the crop in our district. The kid's name is Ryan Brzezinski. He adds a different dimension to them. As of late, they've been throwing it to him inside, and he hasn't been playing on the perimeter as much. So it's a good matchup for us with our big, Dane Marsh. When those two go at it, that's pretty much what happened in the first game. It came down to a crazy call. I don't know if anybody saw our game, but it was 1.2 seconds left, and the ref called a foul on a jump ball, and they shot a free throw to win. So it was a tough one to swallow, but it was on the road. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. I'm being polite right now, but it was a tough one to swallow. But it was a road game. They're pretty good. Loudoun County, they can sneak up on any of us. Actually, they've been playing pretty good as of late. We have them on Tuesday at home, and that's going to be a big game for us if we want to play Broad Run in our final district game for that regular season title. And then you look over at the other side of the region. As you mentioned earlier, Julian, Colin Bird changes Tuscarora tremendously. And he does play happy. He does smile. I wasn't doing much smiling or very much happy when we played against him because he cooked us. He's really good. Heritage, they came out of nowhere this year, all sophomores. They're playing fantastic.
What's that point guard's name? Williams?
Yeah, I believe Dylan Williams. His brother actually played for Tuscarora last year. He was a point guard at Tuscarora last year. But you add Colin Bird to that Tuscarora team that was already talented as it was. They returned a lot of good players. They look a lot like Tuscarora of last year. And then, as much as I hate to say it, Loudoun Valley's pretty damn good. So
they're 5-0 in the district.
Yep. So they're leading that district. We have them on Friday. So that's gonna be a crazy game. I don't know if you've ever been to a Woodgrove Loudoun Valley game, but that is something you definitely want to experience.
Yeah, I'll be there Friday, but I went to the football game this year. It was amazing.
It's very Duke, North Carolina. Like it's a big game. So yeah, that's pretty much wrapping up Class 4. If you want me to touch into Class 5 real quick, I can. It's pretty much Riverside and everybody else.
Let me give the record so you can talk about them.
Yeah.
Riverside is 6-0. Riverside might be the best high school team that I've seen in the last 25 years. They've got.
Hold on, say what?
Hey,
Look,
listen, we're not about to fall for that nonsense, bro.
No.
No. We're not even going to entertain that.
Because I'm not getting texts. I'm going to get texts from all the coaches.
Mike Desmond knows why. Mike Desmond knows why I'm doing this.
Last time, all their coaches got to complaining that we're not giving enough credit. We're not entertaining that.
Riverside is almost as good as the Patriots' 14th seed. That's how good they are.
No. To be honest, Riverside reminds me of the DeMatha teams when I was growing up with Adrian Dantley.
I'm about to hang up, yo.
KP, go ahead.
I'm about to hang up.
KP, go ahead. You got it.
Yeah,
we heard enough of that.
I'll keep going.
Adrian Dantley.
Yeah, Riverside is good. They are. I'll give them that. They're very good.
I I think they're good, but shit.
Hey, Coach K, let's shout out the Mason Ridgeway is a junior, 6'6", shoot outside.
He's really good.
Yeah,
he's really good.
The other junior is pretty good player also.
Yeah, so Riverside, that Ridgeway kid had 31 in one game and then topped it with 37 the other night. So he's a junior. He's pretty damn good. They're well balanced. They shoot the ball well. They got a big boy inside who, I mean, he's not actually a really big boy, but he plays hard as hell. Rebounds the hell out of the ball, can score around the rim. So he's
Is that
pretty
Brady?
good.
Oh, you're talking about Brady? Or you're talking about the guy?
I'm talking about Joel with the goggles.
Joel.
Yeah,
that's the kid that Sherman likes.
Yeah, Brady's good too. He can shoot the ball. They have a little bit of everything. So I think it's going to be really tough for anybody in that district to beat them. You'll never count out Coach Hawes. I mean, that was a 2-point game at Potomac Falls that Riverside won. And then the rest of the district, I mean, it's kind of like the Liberty. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night. Independence has some wins. Light Ridge beat Potomac Falls the other night, which was a surprise. Briar Woods is tough. They play hard, tough in every game. And Stonebridge, has athletes and they could creep up on somebody. So I think clearly it's Riverside. And it'll be interesting to see how they fare going later on into the regions. And I'm assuming they're going to make it states and how they fare against teams like the Woodsides of the world. Because they don't really see any of that in their district. And I don't know who I don't follow Riverside, so I don't know who they played non-conference. We played them without 3 starters. They beat us by 15 or 16, something like that. But they're pretty damn good. I'm just focused on Broad Run. That's all I care about. We got to beat Broad Run. So
when's that game? I'm gonna actually watch that one. When's that?
Broad Run. It'll be. Let me tell you right now. I think it's the last game of our season.
If we got that John Circle, you should already know.
Yeah, February 13th at the crib.
February 13th. All right, bet.
Yep.
I think that Heritage team in 2 years, if they stay together, could win.
They're going to be a problem.
They could win a state championship.
I believe they. With Valley being 5-0 right now, I think Valley's obviously going to come out of that district. But if Heritage beat Tuscarora already, so if they can get him one more time, Heritage is dangerous. I wouldn't want to play him.
I was at the game when they beat Tusky, and Williams got hurt, didn't play the second half. Mason Miller went crazy. Heritage is a good
tough.
basketball team.
They play hard. Yep.
Play hard. But they lost to Meridian by 30. That shows you how good Meridian is. All right.
That's Jim Smith. Yep.
Yeah.
Jim's got a squad. I think Jim's squad is 18-0 right now, I think.
They're good, man. They're really good. They're beating everybody by 30.
All right, guys. Now I want to give everybody a chance to call to shout out some of the players to watch. Maybe kids we hadn't been talking about as much this year. I'll go first so you guys can have a chance to think. I got 3 players. I haven't seen everyone this year, so apologies to some of the teams. Point guard at Potomac Falls, sophomore, Joshua Orbita. This kid is going to be a player, left-hand kid. Very similar, Sherman, to the kid at Forest Park, the left-hand kid we were just talking about. Kid handles the ball really well, can shoot. He's going to be a really nice player. I mean, he's the reason why Potomac Falls is back this year, because they lost everybody, and he's by far the most talented kid on the team. Marshall, I got a sophomore named Trey Leonardo, 6'4", can jump really well. White kid, really good around the basket, rebounds well. Him and Anderson Crisco together are decent. 1-2 punch down low. But this kid, Trey Leonardo, is going to be a nice player. My third player is one of the best shooters that I've seen this year, live at least, is Braden Lee from Broad Run. This kid his form is perfect. He can really shoot the ball. This kid can really knock it. I like this kid, Braden Lee. So those are my 3 shout out players to watch. Who wants to go next? Anybody want to step up and shout out some players?
I'm gonna talk about my own guys. It is what it is. We're getting close to the district meetings. You guys know how those go, especially in my area. It's going to be some nonsense, but I think Elijah Gaskins has been one of the best guards, not only in Northern Virginia, maybe as far as statewide, as far as the stuff he's been doing. He's been close to triple-double a few times. In our last game over with the purple team, he had a stretch where it was like 3 straight plays where It would just pick and roll, him call for a guy out. He comes off, gets to the rim, comes off, pull up jump shot, comes off, dunk down pass to the big guy, where he just controlled the action, what was going to happen. And you don't really see a high school kid kind of take over and make a run by himself where it's like something like that. So I'm really been pleased with how he's been playing. I think he's the district player of the year, in my opinion. A kid that probably a lot of people don't know about, that don't talk about, but is definitely should be a first team kid in my mind. Is a kid named Sean Madrigal on our team, number 23. At this point in the season, he is, I was just trying to look it up to make sure I was right, because last time I saw it, he is shooting 68% from 2, 42% from 3, and 80% from the foul line, and averaging 10 points a game. So those are pretty impressive numbers for a kid that never played a varsity game until this year. So that's just two kids I wanted to shout out. They're playing really well for us. And then I don't know who else that I want to talk about. I don't really want to talk about the other guys because I don't really like most of them right now.
Well, Coach, I'll keep this. I'll record this, and you can use this at your all district meeting in a few weeks, so you can shout out.
It ain't gonna matter. They still gonna say the opposite anyway.
Anyone else want to shout out some players that we may not have been talking about, but have surprised this year?
Surprise?
Or maybe just playing good basketball.
I don't even know. It's a kid named Fessy, number 1 for Annandale, that's doing well. That's the only kid I could think about at this moment that people don't know about.
Right.
I don't even know his last name, but his first name is Fessy, Fessi. But I mean, for us, I feel like for player of the year, it's probably going to come down to either Aaron McFarland or Parker Cage. It's like, it reminds me of David and Greg, because like they both keep going back and forth for leading scores, or Aaron had a triple-double the other day, but in that same game, Parker had eight made threes, which is tied the school record from Carlos Jones back in 1998.
That's an old record.
That's Carlos.
Who play?
I think it's Carlos.
Yeah.
Who did we play? Annandale. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so I mean them, and then obviously Isaiah Skin is probably being a running, but everybody, we talked about him about 3 times on this joint. Yeah. I don't know none of the other kids' names, but they solid guards for Edison. The little one lefty, and then the little short dark skin guard. I have no idea what their names are.
Coach, you lost a player. You lost a player at the beginning of the year to private school. Do you feel like your team is gelled the way you like? Because when you lose a player right before the season, you're kind of counting on them, and all of a sudden you're without them. But do you feel like you've fully recovered and you're a better team because of it now? By now, maybe not better.
Don't answer that question, man. That kid gone. You doing well, Carlos. Don't answer that question.
Shout out to Coach Hill over at Lewis. They beat Mount Vernon a couple days ago.
They did beat Mount Vernon, yes.
But he used to coach there too, so I know that they was going through a struggle for a while. So yeah, shout out to them over there. They're in our region still.
Yeah.
I believe doesn't Lewis have an interim coach right now?
Yeah.
No,
Brian
Hill's the coach.
Brian Hill.
What?
Hey,
it's breaking news?
off record type of conversation.
Yeah.
What?
We like to pause for a word from our sponsor.
Yeah. What?
So how about you
serious?
Let's get through the rest of this, and then we're gonna hit that not record button.
Yes.
Mike, you got any diamonds in the rough, or any players that you've been impressed with this year?
So I would say I'm gonna stay in my district. We always talk about Westfield, how at least how loaded they are in their guard play or whatever. I think Will Robinson has kind of went from a guy who just shot threes his first year at Centerville and his first year at Westfield, and he's doing a little more. He's putting the ball on the deck a little bit. But, I mean, he's 6'7". He's starting to score inside and rebound better. He's kind of shown me, at least from an outsider, some growth. Dave Brooks has a white kid. I don't know if it's first name or last name, but a white kid named Bennett. I know what number he is, but number 12, he's been playing better and better for them. So I don't know. I mean, Stenberger's solid over at Westfield. He's improving. But I don't know if I want to say there's a player to watch that we haven't really talked about. I think there's guys on some of the teams that have kind of stepped out of the shadows of the guys that we always talk about.
Yeah. Hey, Coach Des, I do want to mention Kimmerer again. I think I mentioned him last time, but really
CJ.
impressed. Yeah, really impressed by him. He reminds me of Tyler from last year, a little bit, kind of bigger kid. And his dad, he's got great lineage. His dad was a great player, also coached at South Lakes. I believe he's a baseball player at UVA. Wasn't he, Des, or Kimmerer?
John, I don't know if John was. CJ's going to play D3 baseball though.
Okay, yeah, he's had a good year. Just him and Toshi do a good job for you. Underrated. All right,
Yeah.
well, look, guys, real quickly, let's just talk about the rest of the state. We've mentioned Oscar Smith. Are there any other teams in Class 6?
Lansdowne.
Lansdowne.
Lansdowne's ranked number 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
And you think-
Lansdowne for sure. And they're going to be good for the next 3 years because they're really young.
But
But
they're truly young.
Coach
Yeah,
Sun,
not like
Coach
not
Sun
like
is
we're
nice
talking
too.
about grades. Like his son, they're 9th and 10th graders, legit.
It seems like kids always transfer away from Lansdowne though, don't they?
Well, that's if they stay there.
Yeah.
Well,
You
at least
know.
the coach Sun ain't transferring.
He ain't leaving.
He the best one.
Right.
Wow, it's great. And that's it. It's Oscar Smith, Lansdowne. Is there a team in Richmond like Manchester or
I
somebody?
mean,
or-
Manchester's solid.
I don't
No.
know if any of them are any good.
I never even watched them until it's time. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
I know Oscar Smith and Lansdowne down there as far as in the beach area. I don't know about Richmond.
Well, Hopewell beat Varina by 15 last night. That's a big result. So Hopewell obviously must be one of the toughest teams in 3. So maybe they'll see Meridian or maybe North Side is good again this year. Well, I believe they're in 3.
That's where Lansdowne best player went last year. He went from Lansdowne to Hopewell, the 6'6"
right?
wing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he did.
You guys killed them in the summer, in Carlos, Hopewell.
Oh yeah, we did beat him. Yeah.
Yeah. So
What class is John Hanley? KP 5 or 4?
4. It seems like it's going to be a collision course between them and Varina for Class 4. Who else am I missing?
how good is Hanley, Coach?
They're undefeated, right?
They're undefeated. Their district is very weak, so they smack everybody. I don't know if they've played any, in the showcases, but they have a kid who he dropped 51 the other night. Will Braun Druin, I believe his name is. He's a Boo Williams kid. Yeah, he hit 13 threes in a game. He's pretty damn good.
He's a sophomore too.
Yeah, he's really good. And then Varina's there. Hampton obviously is there. So they'll
Hey, is that why Nova Hoops started adding them to the Nova Hoops thing because of him?
I guess so, yeah.
All of a sudden, I start seeing John Hanley stuff.
Yeah, I mean they looked really good at the St. James thing that we all did this summer.
Ah, okay.
So I think it all stemmed from there. But they have a lot of talent. They have 3 D1 guys that are starters for them. They're gonna
Hanley?
Wow.
Yeah.
He only has 3 D1 starters?
Yeah, they had another one. They had another 7-footer. That was just
What the heck is going on in Winchester?
What?
I don't know. I have
Hey,
no
I need
idea
to
what
watch-
else.
hey, I need to watch them.
Got some advice from some people how you get white vans and you go scoop kids up and man.
Yeah, they have. I was watching them at the St. James, and I was like, what class are they? I was hoping they were 5, and I realized they were 4. I was like, shit,
But they're
these
4.
guys can
Okay.
go. They can go. Yeah, they can go. They're really good.
I'm gonna watch them.
Yeah, I mean, as fans, I wish again that we can see these teams and see them play, but we got to figure out who's in what class. So we'll never know whether you have to face them or not. Guys, did we exhaust all the topics, or is there something else we need to discuss?
There's something else we need to discuss as soon as we get off this call.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, I appreciate your time. This has been great. You guys always do a great job on the court, great job on the call. But we'll have to do this again in the postseason. Guys, have a great night.
I was
Yes,
at
sir.